Welcome back to the Radically Blendian channel. And again, we have a very special series going on about all the historical, iconic people in not only the Asian diaspora, but also from the African diaspora. So today we're going to talk about two very amazing women who defy what it means to be beautiful and who can do what with their bodies based on what society likes to say. Who's able and who's not. So the first person that we're going to read today is
Jessamyn, Stanley.
Okay, Jessamyn, Stanley.
Accept themselves exactly as they are right now. If we can all come to the place of saying, I deserve to exist, you deserve to exist, we all deserve to be how we are, we can harness love and we can really fill our world in a beautiful way. It's one of the greatest things.
Once there was a girl named Jessamyn who was told she was too slow and uncoordinated for team sports. She decided to try a solo activity instead. She signed up for a yoga class. Jessamyn was excited at first, but when she walked into the room, she noticed her body was bigger and her skin color was darker than everybody else's. Even worse, the class was called hot yoga. The room was set to 105 degrees. Sweaty and frustrated by how hard it was to bend, stretch, and balance in poses she'd never seen before, she gave up and left. Years later at high school, a friend invited her to a yoga class. Absolutely not, Jessamyn said. She was certain yoga was not for her, but her friend pushed her out of her comfort zone. This time, Jessamyn loved it. Many of the poses were still challenging for her, but she made it to the end of the class and felt proud. From that day, Jessamyn stopped saying she couldn't do difficult things. Instead, she told herself that she was strong and powerful. Practicing yoga with this positive outlook helped her embrace her body and feel more confident. Jessamyn studied yoga for years and mastered the poses she once found difficult, and became a nurturing teacher who encourages people of every background and body shape to try yoga.
Nice. And Jessamyn has her own social media account that has really blown up. She's been featured in commercials for major products. She is definitely a woman to follow and to be inspired by. So another woman to be inspired by is a woman from India named Devi Khatri. The word TunTun, which is Devi Khatri's nickname, is affectionately used as a synonym for a fat woman in India. Interestingly, the word TunTun never faces any derogatory flack for its employment. This is because it reminds one of a very jovial, loving, innocent, and strongly determined actor and a comedian, Devi Khatri, the first female comedian of Hindi cinema. Was born to a conservative family and faced many hardships throughout her life, but she saw none of these as impediments. She lost her parents at the age of 2 and had to learn how to be strong for herself. When her uncle barred her from attending school, she taught herself to read and write. When she tried to break into an industry that saw her as being too fat or too dark to be a diva, she used her voice and sense of humor to get her foot in the door. At the end of her life, all her obstacles beaten, she was one of Bollywood's greatest singers, comedians, and actresses. Uma's innate talent and attraction towards film songs led her to come to Mumbai. To compensate for the lack of formal training in music, Uma practiced arduously. In order to get by in the big metropolis, she taught herself to read and write in Hindi and learned how to speak a handful of English and Urdu words and phrases. But even in Mumbai, it wasn't enough. This wasn't enough. If you've ever been to the great city, you'll know how intimidating it can feel to be surrounded by so many buildings and people, the richest and poorest in India alike. How does one make it in a city this big? For Uma, it was by marching boldly through the door of Bollywood's greatest composer at the time, Nashad Ali, and convincing him to give her a chance. This was how Uma got her break in Bollywood as a playback singer. TunTun was also smart about recognizing her own skills, appraising them for what they were and never failing to demonstrate and believe in them. After a successful career as a playback singer, she went on to take up the challenge of becoming a comic actor. With her persistence and relentless pursuit to demand nothing but the best, Uma Devi debuted opposite none other than the legendary actor Dilip Kumar. From there on, she carved a niche for herself in comic roles in Bollywood and gained unprecedented popularity as a comedian. To this day, her mere presence in a movie can make the audience burst into laughter. Comic roles in Bollywood are largely reserved for men and were especially so during Uma Devi's time. However, Uma Devi broke the glass ceiling for women in this space. Her pursuit in realizing her dreams is an inspirational example of hard work, persistence, and believing in oneself, even when no one else does. Her career spanned over 50 years with nearly 200 films to her credit. That's amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we hope that you enjoyed learning about these two amazing women who physically may have not been considered preferred in their line of chosen paths, but they were amazing and they're inspiration to a lot of women that identify with them. So if you have any suggestions on who we should pick next, what books we should pick or read from, let us know, because the books that we use are, books that we read at night before bed. So with that being said, thank you. See you later.
Bye. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave a like.